Hello guys, welcome back to Archive Ryzen. In this video, I'm gonna talk about HARU the ABSCONDITUS deep explanation and weapon comparison.
この剣に迷いはない。双方一位先進。
So HARU the ABSCONDITUS is 5-star kinetic pistol user who are very skill dependent. So if pistol operative is never an option for you, then pulling for HARU the ABSCONDITUS will not a problem because her skill have a very fast cooldown and low skill energy usage. So instead of using her pistol, you can use her skill as much as possible. Also, her signature pistol have a fast fire rate that make her more easier to use if you get her signature weapon. And also because she is very skill dependent operative, that all of her skill doesn't need you to aim properly. That's why she is very highly recommended for mobile players. HARU ABSCONDITUS signature weapon is 16 sight, that able to increase her kinetic damage by 18%, and when you're using her standard skill, she will gain a corrosion effect that can increase her attack by 4.2% for 5 seconds. This corrosion effect can stack up to 5 stacks. You can see this corrosion effect from below the character health bar, and also can increase her attack by 4.2% for 5 seconds and stack up to 5 stacks. So the total attack percent increment from this weapon skill will be 21%. And every time you re-trigger this corrosion effect, it will reverse the corrosion effect duration. So this corrosion effect can easily to maintain for it to stay still in this 5 state. And after you using her ultimate, she will gain a skill buff based on the current number of corrosion stack. So if you manage to hold the corrosion stack up to 5 stack, then you will be able to get a skill damage buff up to 9% for 5 seconds. Well, this is her signature weapon. After this, I'm gonna compare 4 kinetic gun that's suitable for her. Her standard skill can hold up to 5 charge, and every time you use HARU's standard skill, she can dash a little bit if you use her standard skill while pressing any movement button. And after that, she will unleash a 3 Fateful Slice that can deal kinetic damage to 5 enemies on its path. In here, you can see that this is the Fateful Slice unleashed by her, that it contains 3 Fateful Slice, and any enemy that stay too close to the Fateful Slice path will get hit by 3 times with the Fateful Slice. And this Fateful Slice is auto-targeted skill that can only target up to 5 enemies. And the most fun part about her standard skill is that this skill can pass through any obstacle on its way. So you can use this skill to hit any enemy behind a wall or behind any object as long as you know the enemy location. And also, every time the standard skill manages to hit an enemy, it can reduce the skill cooldown by 2 seconds and restore 2 skill energy. And this passive effect also applies on her shooting damage. So if you run out of her standard skill stack or you run out of skill energy, then you can start using her weapon to shoot at the enemy as much as possible in order to recover the skill energy or start stacking the standard skill. And if you upgrade this standard skill, the final damage from each slash will increase by 20%. And also it has the ability to slow the targeted enemy movement speed by 20% for 3 seconds. And because this standard skill have a very far range, this ability to slow enemy movement speed can hinder the enemy to get close to you. And if you upgrade the standard skill even more, every time you manage to defeat a target, it can restore 1 stack of standard skill charge, and the standard skill will not consume any skill energy for the next 3 seconds. So this standard skill is very fun to use when there is a bunch of enemy in front of you. So you just need to find a cover and just slash them from behind a cover, and you don't need to concern about the standard skill charge because it will keep recharging every time it hit the enemy and also every time it manages to defeat a target. The only negative part about her standard skill charge is that it can't target a multi-part enemy. When you fight against a multi-part enemy, it will randomly target each part of the enemy. So if you want her standard skill to target the enemy weak spot, you need to aim at the enemy weak spot properly. If not, the standard skill will randomly target the part from the enemy. So make sure to use her against enemy without multiple parts. For her support skill, when you use her support skill, she will slash 3 times and then it will be followed by a powerful slash in the end. The powerful slash also able to knock up the target, and if you upgrade the support skill even further, the powerful slash will be able to stun the target for 3 seconds. It can also decrease the support skill cooldown for 1 second each enemy hit by the powerful slash from the support skill. So her support skill is very good crowd control skill. You can use it against enemy that are about to respawn, so you can knock them out and stun them. When you're using her ultimate skill, she will perform 1 powerful white slash that can deal kinetic damage to all of the enemy in front of her and also can knock them up to the air. and after that you will gain 50 victory points and enter the body as blade mode. In this blade mode, you can keep using her standard skill and ultimate skill again, but every time you use her standard skill or ultimate skill, it will cost the victory point instead of the skill energy. While in this blade state, it will decrease 1 victory point per second, so you need to keep using her standard skill and ultimate skill as fast as possible in order to maximize the victory point usage. While in this blade state, using standard skill will cast additional Faithful Slice, so the total Faithful Slice will be 4 slice. That means it can deal 4 times kinetic damage each time you use her standard skill. And also, in this blade state, it can significantly reduce the standard skill cooldown into 0.2 seconds, which means you can reuse her standard skill as fast as possible in this blade state, as long as you still have a remaining victory point. In this blade state, reusing her ultimate skill will deal a final blow that can knock up every target in front of her, but it will cost a very large amount of victory point, about 15 victory point per use. And even when you are insufficient victory points, you can still reuse her ultimate skill, but after that you will run out of victory points and HARU will exit the body as blade state. If you upgrade the ultimate skill, it can return 1 victory point each time the final blow hit a target. That maximum victory point it can recover is 5 points. So it will cost 15 points and you only be able to recover 5 points. So make sure to hold your urge to use her ultimate skill in this blade state, unless you are fighting against a bunch of enemies. Because from the calculation, final blow damage have a low damage per victory points than her standard skill damage. That her standard skill can deal 3 times more damage per victory point than her final blow damage. And also from the ultimate skill upgrade, you can gain a certain chance stake every time you use her standard skill in the blade state, that there will be 5%, 10%, 20%, 40%, 80% chance based on how many times you use her standard skill during the blade state. And if you are lucky enough, the next final blow you use during blade state will not consume your victory points. From here you can see that if the final blow will not consume your victory points, the icon of the final blow will glow up. That is the time for you to use her final blow without consume the victory points. So you don't need to care about this chance stake, because every time if you get placed by RNG card, the final blow icon will glow up. All you need is to pay attention to the final blow icon, so you can maximize the victory point usage without wasting too much victory point by using the final blow skill. And for her Dewa's alignment, HARU can deal true damage to the target equal to the target current HP, which means she can instant kill the enemy if the enemy reaches a certain condition. That is, if the target doesn't possess a shield and the current HP is lower than 40% of HARU attack. Ratio can increase by 10% for every alignment index. If you max out her skill upgrade, you can get a 300 alignment index, so the total ratio will be 70% from HARU attack. But don't put too much hope in here, because this skill is only one-time usage. This Dewa's alignment skill only will help you when you're dealing with a bunch of small enemies that have a lower HP, so this condition will be reached much faster. But if you are fighting against boss, this thing will be the last thing you hope it will help you when you fight boss, because usually boss have a very large HP, so waiting for this Dewa's alignment to help you, it will be an ages. And the good thing about her manifestation is that she's not a manifestation dependent, because most of her manifestation are pretty much not very useful for her. The first manifestation is that her ultimate will not consume ultimate energy every 10 minutes. But usually, after you using her ultimate, before the ultimate cooldown reverse, you can already manage to recover enough ultimate energy for her to use another ultimate skill. So the first manifestation is not that valuable for her. While her second manifestation is that she can increase her attack by 5% for 5 seconds when HARU uses skill. This manifestation is very useful because it's able to increase your attack, and it's also very easy to trigger and maintain the duration. The third manifestation is that HARU can gain Iron Body when using a skill. I don't know much about Iron Body, either that can heal her or can increase her defense, but from what I know, Iron Body can only raise her resistance against any crowd control debuff, or can increase her resistance to interruption. And the fourth manifestation is that it it can decrease the standard skill cooldown from 4.5 seconds to 4 seconds and skill energy consumption from 4.5 point to 4 point, which means this manifestation will not cause a very significant change for you because you can easily recover her standard skill charge and recover her skill energy by shooting the enemy with her pistol. And the last manifestation is that in body as late state or ultimate state, she can deal more damage the lower the enemy HP, that it can increase her damage up to 30%. And the last one is her Logistic Squad. Her recommended Logistic Squad is Akisu skill. Akisu skill can increase her skill damage by 24%. And also every time you use her standard skill or defeat a target or use an ultimate skill, you can gain a certain stack of golden osmanthus wine. That if this golden osmanthus wine reaches a 15 stack, it can increase the equipping operative attack by 25% for 10 seconds. And after it reaches 30 stack, the equipping operative will gain a kinetic elemental damage increase by 20% for 10 seconds. And after it reaches 30 stack, the golden osmanthus wine will be clear and you will need to accumulate the stack from 0 stack again. You can see the golden osmanthus wine effect from here. And for the logistic talent priority, I think the most important for her is attack percent. Kinetic elemental damage is also important for her, but if you didn't get such kind of talent, then her skill haste, her skill energy recovery or ultimate energy recovery will also be useful for her because her ultimate skill have a long cooldown, so skill haste is very important for her. And because her skill unable to cause a crit damage, then crit damage amplifier and shooting crit rate will be the last option for you. While for her alignment index is the last thing you need because it won't cause any significant effect for her, especially when you versus boss. And the next one is gun comparison. So here is the simple calculation I did to compare 4 of these kinetic weapons that have ability to buff the active skill. The first one is Tier 1 16 Sight, and the second one is Tier 1 Star Platinum, and the third one is Tier 5 Yojimbo, and the last one is Tier 5 Wild Stinger. Maybe you can get Tier 5 Wild Stinger easily, just like how you can get Tier 5 Wild Leer from the previous event. And for the calculation, I used HARU the ABSCONDITUS level 80 that didn't use any logistic at all. And here is the characteristic of the weapons. So 16 Strike and Wild Stinger, they have the same capability, about 94.93%, and same fire rate, same reload speed, and same magazine size. While for Star Platinum and Yojimbo, they are the same type pistol. They have 146.46% capability, they have the same fire rate, reload speed, and magazine size. This kind of pistol is what I hate the most because they have a low fire rate and low magazine size. And if you calculate them using this formula, you will get the result like this. So the crit damage shot from here, you can see that Star Platinum and Yojimbo can deal more crit damage than 16 Psych and Wild Stinger. But if you compare their damage per clip, then you will find out that 16 Psych and Wild Stinger have more damage than Star Platinum and Yojimbo, because Star Platinum and Yojimbo only have 6 bullets, while 16 Psych and Wild Stinger have 12 bullets. And also, if you including the time you need to shoot all the bullets plus reload the gun, then you will find out that the continuous damage per second or sustained DPS, 16 Psych and Wild Stinger have more DPS than Star Platinum and Yojimbo, because Star Platinum and Yojimbo have a slower fire rate that can decrease their damage per second. And also because 16 Psych and Wild Stinger have a gun ability to increase the attack percent, that causing their sustained DPS become much higher than Star Platinum and Yojimbo. So if you compare 4 of these guns based on a continuous shooting, like continuously shooting and reloading the gun, you can see that 16 Psych have the upper hand here, that it can highly surpass all of them based on the shooting damage, while Wild Stinger is the second best weapon you can choose. Well, let's hope that I didn't make any mistake on this calculation, because mathematics is never an option for me. I try my best already to calculate all of this, but I believe there's still so many parameters that I didn't include in here, like for example the enemy weakness, or etc. etc. Well, for HARU ABSCONDITUS skill, her normal skill hit or her each faithful slice hit will be like this on each weapon. For 16 Psych, it have the attack percent increment and the elemental buff, while for Wild Stinger, they only have attack percent buff, and for Star Ocean and Yojimbo, they have their skill percent buff. The total damage per using standard skill will be 3 times per hit, then it will be like this. But for Stone Ocean, I also including the kinetic DOT damage from the weapon skill, that it will cause damage per tick, like 6 tick within 3 seconds. And assuming that if we use her normal standard skill every 1 second, then it will have 2 ticks in it. So I already including 2 ticks from the kinetic DOT damage in this normal skill damage calculation for this weapon. And from here you can see that if we use her standard skill every 1 second, it can deal more higher damage than other, but the total damage in blade state or ultimate state, I only including 1 tick in here because in her ultimate state we need to use her standard skill as fast as possible. So there is no time for us to wait for the 1 second in order to maximize the victory point usage. Then you can see here that 16 Psych have the upper hand in here because besides it has the kinetic elemental buff and attack percent increment, the ultimate will also activate the weapon skill percentage buff, so its damage will be the higher between all of this weapon. While for their ultimate damage, 16 Sight will also can deal higher damage than other pistol. And because the kinetic DOT damage from the Stone Ocean can be triggered or re-triggered each time any active skill hit the enemy, so I try to sum out all of the total damage from the kinetic DOT from Star Ocean after we use all the victory points with the skill combo 3 standard skill plus 1 ultimate skill. And if we use 3 standard skill and followed by 1 ultimate combo, we will manage to use 9 times standard skill and 3 times ultimate skill by assuming that we got 1 time free to use ultimate skill. So we will get some number from each weapon, but in Stone Ocean, there will be additional damage from the kinetic DOT damage, like for 12 ticks from the kinetic DOT, because there is 12 time active skill hit the enemy. And after we hit the last ultimate, there will be 5 tick from the remaining kinetic DOT duration. And if you add the 5 ticks damage to the total combo damage, then the amount of damage will be this much. So the conclusion is, based on shooting damage and skill combo, the 16 Psych never lose to any other pistol because of its massive skill and attack buff. While for Star Ocean, it will be the second option for you if you have this weapon and want to use it on HARU, because by utilize the kinetic DOT damage, you can use her standard skill energy more effectively. While for tier 5 Yojimbo, well, it have a high skill damage, but its normal shot is the lowest, so the normal shot will become a hindrance for you in order to deal a sustained DPS based on normal shot and skill damage. While for Wild Stinger, it only deal a decent skill damage between 4 of these, but it's already higher than other pistol, like for other 4-star pistol and 3-star pistol. And also it have a high sustained DPS shot, so if you don't have 5-star weapon for HARU of Containment, then tier 5 Wild Stinger will be your last best option for her. So I guess that's all from me. From what I think, even though she is a pistol user, she is a very useful main DPS that you should pull, because she is very easily to play, have a very unique skill, have a good skill DPS, especially against a bunch of enemy in the underground first. That's all from me. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Cheers.